What up, y'all? What up? All right, so we'll wait for a few people to hop on. So crazy enough, like I don't know what happened today, like because I've been having my agents. So my agent starts now is able to like re-invite everyone on a weekly basis, like make sure that everything is there, and then it's reposting the video on YouTube and then making a thing, which is actually pretty cool. Let me show you guys real quick what I did with that. Let me show y'all. Let me share my screen. So I started doing that. And like then today, a few people sent me a message. They're like, hey, it showed that the registrations are closed. I was like, what the fuck? I was like
Oh
out
no.
at dinner we did an event today. Matt, you would have liked this. Basically, it was like on the future cities, what they look like, network states. And we were there with this like the first unicorn founder of Malaysia. And then we were also with what is that one called? He's like the chief deputy prime minister, like he's running for it. They kind of like pick them ahead of time. They basically pick them. And we're there with like so this is like a special economic zone in a place called Forest City, and it was the CFO was there. So it's kind of like they run their own city, like they take care of everything. Like this whole entire project, this $100 billion project, which is only 13% done because they abandoned it, but they never really abandoned it. They were there. So like we're having really good conversations about this whole thing that happened with network school, politics, how you have to like, if you want to try to run a network state or a startup society, you have to get integrated to the society better, right? Because we're in Malaysia. And basically it was a great conversation, like very like future centric on like how everything is going to change and how more and more people are going to be traveling. A lot more people will lose their jobs and they'll be like, do I want to? Because think about it. Pretend you're in Silicon Valley, or Miami, or New York, whatever, and then you lose your job. You have like 50, 60 grand saved up in the bank, and you're spending eight or $10,000, maybe more, $12,000 a month. You're like, oh shit, I'll be out of money in like 4 to 6 months. So you're thinking to yourself, like, what do I do? They're going to start traveling. They'll have a startup idea, they'll start traveling, they need places to be, like you could come and live in Asia for like 2, 3 grand easy, like places you could even live under that. Like literally, you could even live like I know some people probably could live for like $1,000 and like not bad. Like that's the crazy part. You could actually live for like $1,000, which to some people is kind of crazy. So we were just doing that and talking about it. It was a really, really cool thing. All right, so let me show you guys really quickly what I did today. As we all spoke about, we're going to be talking about skills because like that's definitely like the big component that we're going to be pushing now. Let me show you guys what I did. So check this out here. So here goes basically, you guys see this? Let me zoom in a little bit more. So this one right here with the AI skills. So this was made by my agent. This is the thumbnail. And all it did is it posted. I didn't go further into it. I wanted to actually go a little bit further into it, but it automatically posted it by itself. So if we go into it, let's see, I'll show you what it looks like. I was telling what's it, Justice, sorry. All right, let's see. That wasn't me. All right. So this whole entire thing here, it created the entire copy. It posted it for me, put all the links inside here, does all I don't know if like YouTube does this or it did it itself on the chapters. I don't even know. What are some of the best hashtags that you could put inside there, which was pretty cool. Yeah, and it did it all by itself. So I was able to repost this entire thing. My agent did it. I didn't have to do anything, which is like pretty cool, right? Like, and then what will end up happening here, you guys, if any of you guys that didn't watch it last week, if you do want to go back, I'm gonna go ahead and put it here. Nomad life for the win. Hell yeah, nomad life for real. Like I'm coming back to the United States coming up, but I'm like stuck on being here in like Southeast Asia. I love Southeast Asia. It's freaking amazing. So, anyways, this is last
So
week we
you're
talked
not
about
going to Kyrgyzstan or whatever, John?
I may go. I'm Kazakhstan. So I
Or
may go to
Kazakhstan?
Kazakhstan. I may go to Kazakhstan October. We are possibly going to do like a 3 month mastermind hacker house. So we're like looking to see who wants to be involved. So if you guys, anyone wants to have any involvement in that, we may do like a 3 month kind of like accelerator, just like good people that we would like to like obviously live with, and then there's right now, like basically all the network school people. For those that don't know, network school is just a network state, like a school, accelerator, living quarters. And then everyone's kind of branched off. Kazakhstan is the new official area because they kicked us out of Malaysia, basically the government. Oh, and what was cool today is that the politician, he said that he was pissed off. He's like, that shouldn't have happened. It was a mistake. Things didn't go as planned. So they want to continue doing it. So like literally, if I want to run basically a new node here, like I could. And if we want to do it for the collective, I could. And this is a new economic zone. Now we're in with the government. We're in with a potentially super powerful politician, the ex-unicorn, the people that run this entire area. They were there today, the CFO and the guy with development. So it's like pretty exciting, but it's like, most of the people did leave already. My big thing is like if I'm not in a school like we were before, I kind of want to be in like some type of mansion or something like that, and then be with like a whole bunch of other badasses. So, anyways, it's cool stuff that's happening right now. That was like a little bit of the deal. But anyways, so let's get into it. We'll have 1 hour exactly because we have a call that me and Umair have to get on exactly at
Cool. Yeah.
midnight. Yeah, exactly. So let's go through it. So what we wanted to do this week, guys, is we wanted to set people up. So I'm going to want to take emails for those of you that weren't here last week, and for those that are listening to the recording. Skills is one of the newest like upgrades that's just kicking ass. I'll show you another example of what I've been working on just to give you guys more ideas on like the potential. But the whole point of today is more that I want us to start collaborating on these skills. Okay, so last week we showed you guys a little bit of GitHub. Okay, so let me show you guys really quickly. So GitHub is just a place that you could put your code, you could put your websites, you could put your skills, blah, 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 blah. My current one, I have way more skills than this. There's just a few skills that I've put up inside here. Even the Higgsfield Goblin, I'm going to show you a video that I did. I want you guys to see the potential of of like how this stuff works. It's getting crazy. Like I just wish I had more time at the end of the day to do these things because it becomes a little like obsessive. But if you don't finish stuff, it's like kind of there's no point. So, anyways, this is my own public skills. If you see here, if I go back, we have one called the collective, which actually, Matt, you're the one that pushed it, even though you say you don't like GitHub, you're the one that pushed it. So I think we created it back in the days. This was like,
Yeah.
I don't know, 4 months ago or something like that. So we did create it. So like what I want to do is anyone that wants to be involved in sharing these skills, you guys will give me your emails today and then you can get access here. But here's the thing. Anyone that participates in this collective, I'm going to make it private. Okay. Anyone that participates, you have to put skills in at least the first month. You can't just come in here and use all these skills because for clarity, I'm going to charge for these skills. Some of these skills, I think I'm going to charge $500 to $1,000. So if you're going to come in here, it's okay. You don't know how to do it, not a problem. But like within the first month, like I want you to figure out how to build some type of skill, even if it's something that you found on GitHub, you watched the video on YouTube, whatever it is. And I have a skill that I actually created. So those of you that don't know how to create a skill, it's as easy as taking my skill here. Okay. How many of you guys really quickly are using press one if you're using like Codex, Hermes, OpenClaw, or Claude Code, press one. Press two if you guys haven't used any of that. And it's okay if you haven't, right? Like we just need to know so that we need to know if we got to teach you guys and whatever it is. Be honestly speaking about it. So Claude Code, Hermes, okay, cool. All right, so most of you guys are using it right now. So what I did do is create for those of you, do you guys also know press 3 if you know how to upload a skill, and then press 4 if you don't know how to upload a skill, just to get an idea really quickly. And it's definitely okay if you can't, right? It's definitely okay. Okay, so if you go in here, I'm going to share this with you guys right now. This is just a public domain that I've put up so that people could come in here and take some skills. These are only a few of the skills that I have. Like I probably have like 30, 40 skills by this point. I don't even know how many I really have, but it might be at least 30 up to like 40 of them. And I'm going to continue to add these. There's some really good ones that are coming into play. And I see myself using them a lot now. Like literally, I'm actually using 2, 3 skills at a time, where I'll be chasing a goal or doing something, and I'll use multiple skills in it. And it's getting better and better, right? And like all you do is optimize. It doesn't have to be perfect at first. But there's one inside here. So the skill that I made will automatically put the repo in here. These are the repos. And then this is just the explanation for anyone that finds this for the first time, like, digital frontiersman skills. I've come back from the future of the map, which is one of my sayings. What is this? Blah, 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 blah. What's the mission? We want to 100 to 1000x. My goal now is like, I think I'm going to start reaching 100x. If I haven't already, I think I'm going to reach it in the next 2, 3 months. Like that's how like capable I've become, like using Hermes and Codex. I've been using more Codex as of late because I'm rebuilding all of my Hermes right now. But I've been using Codex like hardcore for some heavy hitting stuff. And it's like, I'm getting incredible results. It's still a little early, but if you go down here, it says create a public skill. And then this one will help you keep it just like we have it here. Okay. Does anyone have press 5 if you guys, or press 1 if you guys have created your own GitHub repo, and press 2 if you haven't? So has anyone actually created a GitHub repo for themselves yet? Because I don't think a lot of people have. Matt, you haven't done that yet, right?
What, created a GitHub repo? I've
Yeah.
got loads of them. Got loads of them, but I just don't like it. I just don't like GitHub. But it's not that I've used it lots.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
But
here's
not,
I think
but
like
not
here's
really
the
for
time
anything
to.
AI related. So
They're not what?
I haven't used it for anything AI related though.
Okay, yeah. So I think this is your chance to start using it, at least for the collective one, so that you can actually start, putting some skills and like start developing some skills. I know, Matt, that you'll start once you get into it. I think you're going to really like it because you get some really good results. And, I'm sure there's certain things that you can do or get it to do that would be quite fun. All right. And then we all start to share with each other. And then if something works good, we can share it again. And then simultaneously, if something doesn't work, you could tell someone, hey, this doesn't work pretty well. Like Umair, I know that, I don't know if you have a GitHub repo, but you have a ton of skills that you've created, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So it's like now it's time to like start taking them in there, and then we're all going to start putting them inside. We're going to start putting it inside of the collective one. Just like you see this, we're going to create one for the collective. Okay, so the collective is empty at the moment. We'll start adding them. I'll start adding my other skills inside there and everything. Okay, so let me go ahead and show you guys an example really quickly. I don't know if this is the video that I did here. Can you guys see my screen? Can you see a goblin on the screen? Can you guys see a goblin? Yes. Just making sure you guys can see this.
Yes. We can see that, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. So I want to show you guys this one here. This is this is my new Higgsfield Goblin. I like to come up with cool names. So basically this is actually my character persona, the Goblin himself. Okay. So the Goblin is basically, he's going to help you do all the things that are necessary that you need to do to make a AI-based video. Okay. So let me show you guys what I did. Don't mind, there is a couple mistakes. I'm working on the copy right now, but just to give you an idea, I did not come up with a script. I didn't come up with a character. I didn't come up with anything. We're using Cdance 2.5, 2 15-second videos put together, but just to show you what's possible. Okay.
Still hiring 5 people to make one AI video? That isn't a workflow. That's a hostage situation. Give me the brief. I write it, cast it, direct it, and finish it. One character, every shot, every world, still the same. Your idea goes in, a campaign comes out. Install Higgsfield Goblin. Stop prompting, start directing.
Okay, so what do you guys think? What do you guys think on the creativity level there? Not too shabby, huh? Not
Very
too shabby.
nice.
So
Very nice.
it's pretty good, right? So the crazy part about this is, like, for example, we're building something, our living websites, our orb. And the reason I did this is because I want to come up with more ads. And the more ads that you have, the more chance you have of finding something that is viral, that converts, but it takes time. And doing a video like that can be quite costly, right? Could be quite costly. So imagine that was like one of the first iterations that I made. Okay. So that like is pretty good. Like the goblin turning off the lights at the end, right? Higgsfield Goblin, like that's pretty freaking cool. So that is a skill that I'm working on called the Higgsfield Goblin. That's just one of the many different ones that we have. So just to show you guys like what's possible as long as your imagination can take you there, right? And then it does take optimization to make it better and better. Hence, once why you see some of these projects, like for example, OpenClaw, Hermes, they started off, they didn't get any attention in the beginning. They kept doing updates. It got better and better with time. You know, feedback from the community, because you get feedback to the people that are creating these things. And then from there, basically you can have a much more refined product, for example, like Hermes, right? Like it's significantly better and something that has like a lot of power. So that's one of the things that we want to be able to create. Okay. So quick question. From the people that do have some skills. So let's say really quickly, like Osiris, I don't know, Dell, you created any skills? Do you guys have skills that you've created? And can you guys share with us possibly something, or someone that has a skill that they've created? Can you share with me like something that you have done thus far?
Yeah, I could share something.
Yeah,
You want me to
please.
send it to you or something?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'll definitely add you if you guys want. Go ahead and well, Osiris, maybe show us. I don't know if are you on a computer or you're on the phone right now?
I'm not on the computer that has my stuff on it. Because I have it on I have a Mac Mini running all my stuff right now.
Ah,
I'm
okay.
not on that computer right
Yeah,
now.
that's okay. That's okay.
Um,
Yeah, that's okay.
um,
If you could explain to us, and then guys, and
yeah, sure.
whoever wants in the meantime, as Osiris explains, put your email address if you want to be added in here. You're also meaning that you're also going to add skills too, right? If not, take some of our GitHub repos, use the other ones. But if you want to be in this group, you do commit to like at least doing one or two of these like a month or something like that, right? So put your emails in the chat, and then go ahead and Osiris, go ahead and give us context on what
Yeah.
you built and some of the skills that you've done.
So I got a lot of skills, but a recent one that I made was I've been working on my portfolio, which I'm about to launch like this weekend, I guess. Just because I needed a revamp. I haven't redone my website in a few years. So to get inspo, you know how you go get inspo and like you want to copy certain things and remix them. So I made a skill
Yeah.
that kind of crawls like certain pages to get, because you could use like the Claude browser and some of these agents, but they're not that great because they miss some of the components, especially like with in motion animation. They always miss like a lot of components and you have to like re-arc them. So I made a skill that helps you clone either whole websites or different elements of a website in code that you can remix. And then also I have so I have one for cloning and then I have one for editing. Like if you just want to take a site and edit it and like do different things to it, like you can extract everything from the site and then kind of rebuild it in your own code. And then I have another one that
That's a pretty
well,
dope one. That's a pretty dope one. And then are you
yeah,
using Codex or like Claude Code? What are you using?
I'm pretty basic. I use Claude Code or Codex. I switch between both of them, but I use VS Code for everything.
VS Code.
And
Got it. Got it.
yeah, and then
Got it.
let me see another a cool skill that I made was I made from that white paper that I shared last time. And what
Yeah.
that helps you with is if you're building agents, this will help you take your agent game to another level by saving like 90% of your cost. So I use the ICM, that interpretable context methodology, and I turned that white paper into a skill. So that way, when I set up agents, I set them up efficiently, especially like when they're running off of like local folders and stuff. It basically helps you set up your folder structure properly, and especially if you don't know how. And and what that does as a result is that your agents run more economically. So you're going to save anywhere from like 80 to 90% in token spend. and also you're going to have a proper structure, so it doesn't matter what platform you're on, you can move that agent anywhere without any like loss of quality of that agent.
Oh, nice. Oh, nice. And then do
Yeah.
you do you give names to all your like skills, like specific names, so it's like pretty thorough, like with what it is and stuff
Yeah,
like that? Like how do you?
yeah, I give them a name. Like I give them a basic name. Like that one I just put like ICM method skill, which the ICM method is not mine. That's from some dude you can follow online. What's his name? Jake Van Cleef. He's probably, and I'll shout him out just because he's probably the one of the few people I actually respect in the agent game, because um he doesn't give you fluff. Like it's just straight up like this is how you save money and make it efficient.
Oh, really?
And his school's free. You can find this paper online. I'll find it now and share it, but you could turn that into a skill. But I could share that skill too. The because you can make it your own
Yeah, and
skill.
and I'm thinking too, like if we find skills that are really freaking good, like for example, like I also took like a couple skills from people that already exist, and like one of my friends shared with me like a design skill that basically helps you just do much sexier like websites and stuff like that. So like that was one thing that, I'm using and everything like that too, or at least I started to use it. It's actually better for like Claude code using like Claude design. So
Yeah.
that's
So
like
what I
we can
did was
copy that.
I used his. Oh, sorry. We got a delay.
No, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh no, I say so the skill is mine because I customize it to how I need to use it, but the method is his because he wrote a white paper. But basically the white paper, I don't remember when I came on last, but that white paper I shared, I turned that into a skill and I customized some areas. So I could share both, and you know, and y'all could just remix it, do whatever you want with it. But I always recommend remixing them.
Yeah. Yeah. You always recommend what?
Remixing those skills to your specific need, because sometimes they're not
Yeah.
totally built for everything you need. They might have most of it, and you might need to add
Yeah.
some, custom thing that's just for your need. So just something to note with the skills that you could always just rebuild them as well.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. That's one thing that like, we were gonna get into like, helping individuals like create skills for their agents and like, kind of
What do
do
you
it. But it's
call it on
like
your website?
after we did like
What
say it again.
what do you call it on your agent website when people remix it? There's a word for it that you
Oh,
used. I
oh,
forgot.
yeah, yeah. So forking.
That one. Yeah, yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. That's a word that like I just use, but I think it's proper, right? Like that
No,
you're
it's a
able to
thing.
kind
It's
of
a thing.
like,
I always forget the proper words.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. So yeah, forking is like really good. So basically that is what we're doing. It's like we're taking something that someone has already done. Like for example, like if there's skills that have like, over like 10,000, 5,000, 20,000 stars on it, then basically it means it's a pretty damn good skill. So like what you would do is like use it for the first time. And then after seeing like what happens, you basically go ahead and you
Oh, we lost him.
He'll probably be back in a sec.
Oh, I
Yeah,
thought that was me. I thought that was my computer.
yeah, same here. The sound like, made it seem like, my computer died. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So Cyrus, like, so do you work on your own skills? Because I normally do not
Yeah.
use Codex or Claude. What I do is uh, I explain to my Hermes, and I found it way easier. And my Hermes is running on Codex. So I asked my Hermes to kind of learn about the thing that I'm trying to make. I break it down, and then I get my stuff done too. At the same time, I make it learn the skill, acquire that skill for future references. So that's how I operate. I found it
So
the easiest way to kind of like, develop new skills inside Hermes. And I think like, everybody should start from there instead of like, trying to uh, grab some skills. Yeah, that's a great option to have. It's already available in GitHub. Like, you can get it from somebody else's repo. But for
Yeah.
your own personal need, I think that's the best way to go about it. Or acquire a skill, get a skill, and then like you were saying, spin it off or tweak it to your needs, right? So for me,
Yeah,
that's how I operate.
I'm glad you called that out because to that point, I probably left out a lot of details. but but to that point, yeah, I do make my own skills and I have like I have a skill maker project in my Claude and I also have it in like ChatGPT.
Mhm.
So, one easy to your point, like one easy thing that you could do is like obviously I do research like for a living, so like one of the things I do is like I just go I've taken like in a lot of this exploring the skills, I've taken a lot of like the common structure and I've broken it down and just created a project that helps me create skills bare bone, either from scratch, or that's what I actually use to remix like other skills that I find out there. But yeah, you're right. You should actually create it from scratch if you can for a lot of your digital stuff because I mean your process and you could even take stuff from like I've even used like Scribe and
Mhm.
like for certain process things to train agents. Um,
Yeah.
like right now I'm using like um at US Bank, one of the things that we're doing is there's this other tool that's like Scribe, but just more advanced. It's called Scan, SKAN. So we're
Mhm.
using that actually to on an enterprise level, we're using that like it's kind of like Scribe where it records everything, but this records you 24/7 and it catches like all the nuances and variables in your process, like when you flip in and out of the computer and all that. And we use that to create our like enterprise skills. So that way they're like shared across because these are skills that are being shared in a repository, like in a way that's like accessible to everyone, like 70,000 people in the company and stuff. So um yeah, that's like using those could help, especially if you're doing it for agents that you want to do stuff. Like I would start with like things like even like Scribe or tools like that. Those help a lot too for agent skills.
Exactly. Okay,
Interesting.
amazing. I think John is back.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, guys. I got disconnected, but I'm back here. Thank you. Who was it that just added? Thanks, Chris, for adding it. Osiris, put your email in there too, so I can add you in here. Matt, put your email in there. Anyone else that wants to be added, just put it inside here. Um, and then what we'll do is like, we'll grab because the thing is like I'm also chatting with a few people here, like when we do this like hacker house, like whether people are going to be able to come in for like a month or like 3 months to do like a hacker house. We're also going to be working on like helping each other out with some like crazy skills. And I think like what's going to happen with skills, it's similar to what GPTs were, similar to what like some of these agents are. I just believe that they'll just become like kind of like employees, right? Like I think that's like a real big one, right? And then Chris, are you saying that is that like I guess I can look that up, right? Someone's like username there?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I think it should just have like a username because that's my actual personal one.
Oh,
It should.
nice.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
found my little personal repo, which doesn't have much in there.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
You
Yeah,
found my
so
online my online name.
yeah, exactly. You can do it both through email and I guess a username also. So perfect, perfect. All right.
It, it's old school if you remember the clothing brand.
Yeah, 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 exactly. That's awesome. There we go. All right, perfect. Okay, so we've added those in there, and I think that's going to be beneficial for us to be able to use those. I'll tell you guys a couple like some of the skills that I'm like using a lot right now. So if we go back to, and I sent it to you guys, but I'll be adding it inside there. But you can always tag them. I put it at the beginning of the chat. So one that I really like. So idea chain, for example, Matt, this was like something we spoke about. I don't know, 8 years ago or something like that. Like we had an idea on taking like the blockchain and then being able to have a single idea branch off into a bunch of ideas. And then based off of all these ideas, the community would pick out and maybe I've changed it, Matt. I don't know if you remember we did it maybe a little bit different, but you're able to now, let's say I want to build a million dollar SaaS. And then 10 people come in and they're like, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. Then the whole community picks one out. And then from there, it's like, okay, what do we do next? Okay, we need a plan. Here's 10 plans. They pick that one out. Based on the plans, what can we do? Okay, here's 10 ideas on how we could, make this plan work. And then as soon as you know it, all of a sudden, basically, you have a masterpiece of a business plan or possibly the whole entire business done. And theoretically, this is where it goes further. It's like you could do it on the blockchain, and then anyone that was involved in the idea and they get picked or they conquer something, someone makes a website, someone goes, does the marketing campaign, someone does something else, they all get a piece of the pie. This is significantly easier, and this is something that works pretty well. But let's say, for example, like you want a title for a book, you turn on idea chain, and then it gives you three options. Okay, so the three options would be, let me see if I could just show you guys actually real quick. So I'm using, this is the Goblin thing right now. I'm coming up with the different copies. So check this out. So I'll be like, I'll use the skill of idea chain, right? So we put idea chain on. So help me come up with, 5 new ideas for ads that I can run on Facebook, right? So that I can add on Facebook to get people to buy my Higgsfield Goblin skill, right? So as it does it, it's also going to ask me at the same time. It's going to ask me like, hey, do you want this fast? I mean, it should ask if the internet connection is okay here. It'll say, do you want it fast? Do you want it mediocre? Do you want God mode? Okay, the three different modes is how deep it's going to go on how important it is. If it's simple things, you just say fast. And then if it's something that you need a little bit more thinking on it, you go medium. And then if you want something that is extremely detail oriented and you want to go do some research, then you basically put God mode on. And it's going to go into like extreme thinking mode and it's going to come and pull you back, those things. The other thing that I'm using this exact skill for is let's say that I want to come up with an ad. Okay. So if I want to come up with an ad, actually what I'll do is I'll turn on another one called Wild. Okay. So check out Wild. You see, look, so it basically, if you see here, it automatically, okay, I think I changed it. So I changed it to automatically go on fast mode. So if I don't tell it to go onto God mode or go into medium, it'll do it. But what I'll do is like, let's say I want to have an ad and I have an ad and I created it, it's not that good. I'm going to turn on wild mode and I'm going to put on idea chain. So for example, use wild mode and at the same time, use idea chain, right? And then that way it's like using wild mode, which is basically, it really gets it to have an impact. One that I'm using a lot is the wild mode, just because it really does a good job of figuring out like what is hot, something a little bit outlandish. So you could do this for videos, you could do this for copywriting, you could do this for a script, you could do it for an image. You literally could do it for whatever you want, and it's just been doing a really good job to find the creativity, right? So here's basically the results of like what I got with the idea chain, right? So fast mode, okay. Your AI. Remember, this is the Goblin that you guys just saw that basically it came on. So here's like one of the ideas. Your AI video has no director. Boom, gives you some insight, right? It's very detailed. Like it's pretty freaking good, right? The way that it was able to create, but basically it tells you, hey, your problem isn't the models, the production has no director, right? What is the text that'll be on it? What's the CTA? It knows already that it needs a CTA. Install the director. Your AI production is missing, right? So it's like it automatically tells me exactly what I need. So if I have one of those, okay, I'm gonna get rid of these now for a quick second. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go with one character every world. Let's go ahead and use, okay, so now I'm gonna say, let's go ahead and use Higgsfield and create our number 4. Use wild mode, right? So we're going to use wild mode. Boom. I'm going to let it go do its thing. Okay. So let me go back in here. I'm going to add, I think Adele added one person inside here. So that's just like a one example of like one ways that you could use the ones that I will be putting inside here. So I would love obviously for you guys to be able to come in and then simultaneously like test these out, see if they're good. Cause like if we start to get really good skills, and let's say for example, like we have 100 skills inside there, like we'll be able to pick and choose like from really good ones, tell the person like, hey, this is a waste of my time. Hey, this is one that I would like to see refined a little bit better. And then one thing that me and Umair were talking about with Zain, which is our developer, he basically one of the things that we're trying to figure out is like, and then I don't know if like Matt, you have any ideas on this, or maybe Osiris, you have some ideas on this. I've gotten all these like cool skills and some of these because what I'll also do is I'll turn automations into skills. So if it's a cron job, I'll also turn it into a skill. Okay, so like another example, let me go and just show you guys actual examples here. Let's see which ones that we have. Okay, digital twin courses. Okay. So basically this is if you guys saw before, I was showing you guys like let's see if there's one inside here. Okay, so this is basically a skill that will make a weekly drop on our school channel. And basically it'll come up with a concept. This is a banner, so this will go into school. So I did the crazy part about this one, or there's another one that I have, but the crazy part about this one and some of the other ones, it created the course with my digital twin, with like everything happening on top of it, while also doing the banner, doing the copy, and everything else. So this idea from wild mode, so it's a wild mode weekly drop. It's like how to make it human. What's cool is that I didn't come up with this. Okay, I did not come up with this. It made it on its own. Okay, so like literally, it's like, okay, what are the best ideas that I could use utilizing wild mode to help people get some value? And this is one that I didn't have to. So on every Friday, it'll give me the idea what it thinks is best. It'll also run concurrently what is the best things, what is the most trending thing, what is happening right now, what are big subjects at the moment. And it'll return, it's like, hey, I'm going to do make it human. If I do not get back to it by Sunday night, it'll go ahead and it'll create it on its own. So by Sunday night, I will have my own. I'll have the thumbnail, copy, the videos, the entire school thing, and all the emails that are coming out. If I don't like it, and let's say that I want to change it, I have basically because I'm in 12 hours north of EST. I have basically all of Monday if it's going to launch on Monday to change it. And then it will come up. So right now, obviously, I'm like a bigger fan of Codex at the moment. It'll pop up and it'll say like, "Hey, this is what I have. What do you think about it? Do you want this?" And then I can go ahead and actually change whatever is needed. So by the time that it's ready to launch, like it could do it. So I could just do hands off and just like fuck it, just let it go up. But the problem is if there's AI slop, you kind of don't want that to happen. So I'm currently right now, and this is the conversation that I was having with Umair and Zain literally today, and we're going to go through this tomorrow. Is I have 3 posts that are going to go up on Instagram. I have 2 courses that are going up on school. I'm having the Vibe Coding Madness call, like everything that is positioned, like the stuff that you saw like drop inside. I don't know if you guys saw me drop, like for those of you that are in this the school community, or those of you that are on WhatsApp in our private community saw things drop inside the broadcast channel or the other one. I didn't do that. Okay. So you might think it's me, but it's not me. So like what I'm doing is like I have my 2.0. So whenever I'm changing something too, so that people know when it's actually me, like I'm not publicly saying this, you guys know this though, but if it shows Digital Frontiersman 2.0, it's not going to be me, it's going to be my agent. So it's like basically it's my digital twin that is going and doing all these things instead of actually going out and doing it myself. So if it just says Digital Frontiersman, then you know it's me. If it says 2.0, you're going to know that the people that know, they'll know that that's basically my digital twin that's doing these things, right? Like that's the thing that I'm going to be like adding, which I think is like pretty cool. And again, like think about it for a quick second, guys. If I'm doing this while I'm like, here at the school, while we're working on client stuff, while we're building out other technology, and I was able to do all this shit myself, okay? Let alone like all these things, like most people, like they can't even fathom to have this, or they're hiring an agency, or they're trying to do this on their own, how far do you think these people are going to get? They're not going to get that far. And like, it's only going to get better, right? So like the hard part I would say about this, the harder part is the refinement. So getting the quality to be good enough to go out like on our Instagram, to go out into the school community. So like at the very last part, this is where I'm like, I told Umair and Zain, where I'm like, okay, I need your guys' help because I've created basically an MVP of all this stuff. And what I really need now, it's like, how do we refine it? You know, like Umair is like obviously a creative genius. Zain is a freaking, coding beast. So I'm like, now it's like, for me, how do I now take it, have the boys refine it? And then boom, now we're able to now have a really good flow. And then guess what? The cool part about this is like on a weekly basis, all I have to do is double check that it's not slop and then make it better. And then these are our actual employees. So theoretically, how many employees would I have needed to do the social posts, do the designs? Okay. And, and it goes way further also. Like what I want to be able to create, let's say with the Vibe Coding Madness, our academies, let's say when we do webinars in the future, then not only is it able to go and put it onto YouTube, but then it's going to take clips and it's going to make clips. Let's say, for example, like one of the flows that I'm creating right now for some of the school products, or let's say a skill, for example, the Higgsfield skill that I'll sell for like $500 or something like that. It'll create the ads, put it on YouTube, potentially, create ads for me to be able to do it. I created another skill to be able to help me launch the Facebook ads based on everything that it knows about me. It's downloaded the entire synopsis, the Facebook Meta rule book, let's just call it. It knows everything whatsoever. So I could just be like, hey, don't go ahead and run this course. Let's say it's a skill. Let's say it's a skill. We'll put the skill like into the school community. It's going to go ahead and post it. It's going to make a video of me, or it's going to make a Higgsfield video. It's going to promote it to people. And then simultaneously, it's going to be able to make the ads and put them up, and then maybe run it for, $50 a week or something like that. So every single week, I'm going to have the capability to be able to just do these things. And all I have to do is refine it. Okay. Yeah. All right. Perfect. All right. So, Umair, you want to talk about a little bit of like, you had an idea behind, coming up with a chat. And I know that you're something that I think Zain discovered. Maybe do you want to bring that up, Umair, about like what you were talking about and what Zain did? Because like this could also take stuff to another level. Like Umair had this crazy cool idea because I'm trying to refine this so that I can actually have all these automations done. So Umair, do you want to talk about that really quickly? And then maybe Zain brings up this system.
Oh, the agents working together, communicating together.
Yes, correct. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So just to give you guys a little background, and then Zain's gonna share a screen and showcase what we found is me, John, and Zain were talking about it, and it I had an idea a couple of weeks back, where I was telling Zain that hey, we are all working on our own Hermes. Everybody is working on their own Hermes or their own agents. But thing is, if we are in a team setup, how would my agent can talk to your agent, having the context of what your agent is working on, or things that we are all working together. And I'm working on a certain bit of that project, and Zain is working on the other, and John is working on the third piece. How can we, and then be using our agents and automations to utilize and capabilities to get that done at our end? How can we make our agents communicate with each other? By the end of the day, we get our stuff done, but then we communicate, right? We give the context. We say, hey, it's done, it's not done. Okay, this is what's happening. Why don't have a pool of our own agents come together? For example, if John has got Codex, Codex, and I've got Hermes, and somebody else has got OpenClaw. Now we have another self-evolving agent, which is going to give Hermes, it's a run for the money, is called Prime Agent, which is now it's been a week that it has come out and I'm testing it. So all these agents can come together, communicate with us amongst each other, give each other reports on hey, this part I need from you because you were in charge of that. So John is not available. At least I can get an update from John's agent because it is aware and update it with what John has been working on. So I get the files from it, my agent gets it. So all those kind of communication, like, we can make that centralized area or platform where, like, all of us and our agents are communicating and have the same context. Not separate context, but the same context. So they're all, like, part of the loop, communication loop, and the project loop. And we were discussing that, and I was like, dude, like, I think this is the next big thing that we can do, and it could be super sexy. Let's build it for ourselves. And if you manage to pull it off, that we can, like, take it to the market, that would be amazing, right? So everybody loved the idea. We were talking about it. Me and Zen started doing research. Then I came across literally 6 days after that discussion, I came across a platform called Buzz. Buzz is a platform which is being developed by Jack Dorsey, and it is a brilliant platform which exactly does the same thing that me and John and Zan were discussing. The idea is exactly similar. It has your multiple agents have the same context window. They're all communicating together. They're all working in correlation with each other. And whether it's yours, mine, or, like, in terms of team agents, right? Like, team has different agents, and everybody has a team of agents, and they all have the context, and they're all working together in harmony. And you can also engage with all the agents, and the agents can also engage with them. So that's kind of a basic overview of, like, what Buzz is, but it is getting developed. Jack Dorsey is now making applications, iOS and Windows apps for it, so that you can have it on your different systems and phones and gadgets, and still have the same context, and they're all synced together, no matter what, like, gadget you're using or what platform you're using. So yeah, so that's a beautiful platform. I think it's gonna be the next big thing, in my opinion. Because Jack Dorsey is making it number one. Number two, it's like, the idea behind it. I think it has tremendous potential, because that's the next big venture, right? Who's gonna create something where not only agents are working in isolation for you, but also with other agents, and they're all connected together somehow in a centralized manner. So yeah, if you want to share your screen, Zan, and show people, like, what it looks like.
Sure thing, sure thing. Let me just share my screen. I will just go with that.
And so in the meanwhile, so we are like, working on this. We're trying to test it. We're testing the waters. I'm limited to it because I work mostly on iPad. I need to have terminal to kind of, like, make it work. Otherwise, like, I would have started doing it. I pushed Zan to get it done. Zan is also testing it with me. So as soon as we have more on this, we will share it with you. I'm also testing Prime, which is a competitor to Hermes, and it is right now. It is second week. I think it's the first week is almost done when it got launched, and people are raving about it because the learning loop of it is even better, and it can be used just like OpenClaw in a more enterprise at a more enterprise level. So it has some really, really great points. So yeah, so we'll be sharing that update with you too. Yeah. Okay.
Just go on. You're already saying no, there's not.
They're like, yes, like, you're.
We haven't been doing real good on recycling.
I'll put you on mute, Dell. Yeah. And by the way, we have only 9 minutes here. So if you want to go ahead and give a couple minutes for, like, any questions that we may have, but go ahead, Zane. Tell us what's going on.
Okay, so it is ideally here to replace Slack for Teams. It is all about communicating within Teams. So the interface is also like Slack, and an agent is an other entity that is like a person. You can customize its skills and how it will behave and everything like that. So you see, there are like channels like welcome and general and everything like that, like we have on Slack. Then there are direct messages. So let me just show you. I have created multiple agents. So if I show you, I have created multiple agents here. Now, the good thing is I can edit them. I can give them instructions how you have to behave. I can select the model they will use. So I'm using Claude Code here. I can change who can give them instructions, only me, anyone, or selected persons. And then, so for example, I can show you this one is running on Sonnet 2, one of them is running on Codex. So you can customize that. And then the good thing is you just have to add them to a channel. So for example, if you want to add them as just like a simple person, you add on a Slack and they can communicate. So for example, I tagged agent honey, how are you? And it replied me, I'm doing well. And then I asked him, can you send me a DM? And literally sent me a DM. Status all good on my end. Okay. And then in another channel that I created, I see how agents are communicating with each other. So I asked one agent to get the status from others, and it literally checked other agents what they are doing, what is the current status, are they running or not, and it came back to me.
Nice.
So yeah, that is there. So Fizz, how are you? It gave me his status. I said, how are others doing? And it gave both Honey and Bumble, which are other agents, are online right now. And it gave me so the main power of this is agent communicating with each other, people communicating with agents, and not just within my system. So this is my local setup. What I have doing right now for the collective is I am setting it up on VPS so that the whole team can collaborate. So let me just show you. Yeah, this is my setup here. So I have cache, database, and S3 bucket where I can, all the chats and everything can be there. And the good thing is the agents can, for example, I create an agent specifically for designing purposes. It has all the skills and instructions of our branding, how we post things, how the branding goes for school, how for the YouTube and every other stuff. I can literally share that agent with my team. I can add that to a channel and my other team members can literally communicate with that agent. So for example, there is a task, I say I had one agent working on that. Homer will be able to get status back from him or review his task and everything, or give him instructions, right that in their platform. Or I can have a society of multi-agent systems working together. So we have an idea of paperclip where there is a CEO, CFO, CTO communicating with each other on an idea. We can literally have that here. So for example, I can have a main agent, then our designer one, then the one who is planning stuff, and I can ask them, okay, communicate with each other. You are open to communicate with each other. Just come up with something amazing and for our
And can
some
we can
session
you
on
tell
Saturday.
us, Zane, what models each of the agents are using, or are they using different models?
You can literally configure that on your own. You can select which model you want to use. So for example, if you go to agents and you create a new agent, you can, I have set a default one, but you can literally change it and anything. So let me just show you that too. So if you go here and agents, see, I have connected my Claude Code and my Codex tool. So when I'm configuring a new
Oh,
agent,
nice. So
I
you can
can
just put it
just
on
select,
auto select.
yeah,
That's cool. I love
yeah.
that.
So you can
Okay.
just check, okay, you have this agent. So for example, agent one will use Claude Code and agent two will use Codex. I have collected both because this is the setup I use. While coding, I use Claude Code and Codex both, and then it's just want them to communicate with each other because both had different capabilities and point of view because they are trained differently for coding. So when they
Yeah.
communicate with each other, they come up with the best thing possible. If Codex is doing something else, Claude Code will say, hey, why not do it like that? And Codex will be communicating, oh, yeah, let's do that. And this communication will happen automatically within this platform. I don't
It
have to
solves a
be
big
there.
problem because whenever I'm
Yeah,
doing the
exactly.
vibe
That's
coding,
why we think
I'm always going back and
it
forth.
is the next big thing. You
Yeah.
see, I have selected Claude Code as the default. I can select, okay, Codex, you will be using that. And in advance, I can select the model too. And variables too.
And
So
So
Zane, do
basically,
you think
my
this is
synopsis of sorry, John, go ahead.
no, go ahead, Umar. Go ahead.
No, I was saying like, I was just trying to wrap this up. So this, all of this, you can do it in Hermes too, but for your individual self, right? You won't be able to
Yeah.
share it with any other team member. So the beauty of this platform is, guys, like, it's a community based platform where, like, if you have a team, if you have more than one like, 2 or 3 or 4 people in your team, and they're all working separately right now, like, you have your own set of agents, your own army, and your team have their own, like, agents. So what happens here is, like, you all can bring your all agents together in one platform and utilize those agents, communicate with each other, and also give instructions and piggyback off of each other's strengths, right? And then, like, you can create, just like Zain said, if somebody's agent is built on more branding or design ways, you can use it to develop certain things for the front end of something that you're working on of your project. And if you have a better developer agent, then you can use it for the developer agent. And at the same time, if somebody else is working on the same project, then you can always check. Right now, what happens is, just to give you a real lifetime, like, example, is when we are working on our own tasks, eventually we have to give each other, like, update. Hey, it's done, or we upload it on Trello. With this thing capability, then I won't be waiting on John. Like, I won't be worried that John is in a meeting, or John is not available, he's traveling, or he's sleeping, or Zain is not available. I'm going to ask Zain agent, hey, what about the task that I was assigned to Zain? Can you pull that up for me if it's done? So it's going to do that for me. So that's where, like, things get massively, significantly better. And they're still in the building phase. There are still bugs and issues. But now they're coming up with these platforms and all those different apps and native apps that they're developing. It's going to sync all the other devices. So you would be able to access it through the whole ecosystem, through your Mac, through your computers, through your iPads, through your phones, or anywhere else. And if it's cloud-based, then you can utilize anybody else's computer too, just by signing in. So it's amazing. It's brilliant. And we are just, like, scratching surface. And like I was saying, I came across all of this because this thing came about, in my opinion, from long, from loop engineering. But then people started, like, loop had some loopholes in it, loop engineering. So the engineers came up with the graph engineering, which again is a form of a loop engineering. But it is like, instead of same guy cooking for you and tasting what it is cooking, it is doing the tasting and, like, checking everything on its own. It gives you a whole kitchen where, like, you have a lead chef, a prep chef, a taster diff separately. They're all working together. So that's where, like, it stems from. And this platform, I think it's brilliant. I absolutely love it. So let's see where it takes, and we'll keep you guys posted as soon as, like, we are able to have better outcomes, because it's, at the end of the day, it's all about outcomes. It's not about, like, how cool they are.
Yeah, results.
It's all about outcomes. So if we have really good outcome from this, then of course we would love to share it with you guys and, like, help you implement it at your
And
do you guys have a collaboration space yet on Buzz, or, like, if I created a profile, or
It's
you
open
haven't done
source,
that
man.
yet?
It's open source. You
Okay.
can just
Yes,
install it from there.
no. He's asking, like, yes, no, not yet. Once we are at a certain point, then, like, we'll be able to collaborate.
Okay,
Let's
yeah,
build
I'd love to be part of that with you guys as soon as it's available.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
just come on these calls, Chris. Just come on these calls, and, like, we're just building. Like, we kind of, like, the reason we did these calls for you to know is kind of like to keep ourselves, like, expanding, and just use this time to also, like, learn. Like, for example, Zain just explained that instead of now me getting on a call and then he explaining it, you guys can learn simultaneously. So just keep coming on these, and that's why we added that skills, database for us
Yeah.
to share. And then, like, how do we do it? Because it's actually solving our problem. Our big problem is that, like, I'm creating all this crazy dope stuff and all these crazy skills that just need minor refinement
John,
that I
sorry,
need.
I'm interjecting. I need to hop off another important meeting too.
Yeah. I'll hop on in 1 minute, Umair. I'll hop on in 1 minute. Yeah.
Okay.
Hop on.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one, guys.
Yeah,
See you
take it
next
easy.
time.
Have a good one.
Yeah, what's up? So we did it to solve, like, our own problems. And then one of the problems that we're having is that, there's certain skills and certain workflows and cron jobs that I'm building that I need the refinement. So like, how do we like help situate that? And that this is potentially one of the things that we could do. It's too new to like figure it all out. It's very new, but imagine like you're able to have your own agents like chat with your team, right? So if I have my main agent that knows all the stuff about me, then basically doing it. Then obviously you do have to put rules in place. Hey, don't give this certain type of information out. You know, there's rules that you have to put into play. You have to be careful also at the same
Of
time.
course, yeah. Yeah, no, it's very exciting. I'm excited to be a part of it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah,
And
Mike, I
the
saw you.
when we're looking at this, the X402, I'm sure Zain, I'm sure you guys probably heard of it, but and that's the finance layer, that leverages and where agents can do the make payment, the micro payments, and that's exciting. So we're like when you add the finance into the whole environment. So I don't know if you guys have explored that yet, but we're just looking at
Oh
that. It's
no,
called
bring
X402.
do some research and then bring some or tell us next week and I'd love to hear about it for sure. Like 100%, Chris.
It's like blockchain based, so it's like the new protocol. I think
Oh
Base
yeah.
or Coinbase came up with the protocol. It's
Oh
called
shit, no way.
X402. Yeah.
Oh, definitely next week if you come on, if you could, I would love to hear more about it, brother. 100%.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it. All right, guys. So we're done on time. Those of you that got added into the skills, Michael, if you want to be added, send me your email to WhatsApp, and then basically I'll add you to our skills database that we're going to be sharing some of this stuff, and we'll just keep expanding and just keep building some cool stuff until we get to 100 and 1000x. Okay, so appreciate all you guys. Me and Umair have a call we have to get on right now. So thanks for everyone for coming on, and we will see you guys next week. All right, y'all. Appreciate y'all. Thank you, everybody.
All right, guys. Bye bye.
Thank you, guys.